coming on Monday, and it's going to have 14 questions on it. And the first thing I want to talk about is the second part of the test, which is a excerpt that you're going to have to read about a cotton mill and the purpose for that writing and information that is in those passages. I hope to post this excerpt on Edmodo so that you have an opportunity to read it before the test. As far as the subject matter on the test, the Worlds of North and South chapter breaks up into 4 parts. You have a geography aspect for both the North and the South, an economy aspect, a transportation aspect, and a society aspect. And there's questions about each. The first thing when it comes to geography, when it talks about the North, it talks about how the soil was rocky, especially in New England. They didn't have a very long growing season, and that the climate has 4 distinct seasons with frozen winters and warm to very hot summers. Adversely, when it's talking about the South has a much longer growing season because their summer lasts a lot longer and their winter never really comes. One of the reasons that the South had so much agriculture is because they grew cash crops. And what cash crops are is when you raise a crop so that you can sell it. Selling the crop is the most important aspect. Examples of these cash crops, especially in the South, are cotton, obviously, which we're going to be talking about, and also tobacco. Tobacco is a cash crop because you grow it for the purpose of selling it. A thing that also goes along with the cash crop growing in the South is their coastal plains area were very fertile with their broad rivers, and also the invention of Eli Whitney's cotton gin. The cotton gin was a machine that cleaned seeds out of cotton and made cotton an easier crop to produce. So cotton became king in the South. While that's going on in the North, the Industrial Revolution was happening. And the Industrial Revolution is when people started to stop using all handmade things. Like if you had a hammer, it's because you made a hammer. And going to factory built things where if you had a hammer, you probably bought it from a store which purchased it from a factory. So the Industrial Revolution is when a lot of people started to move from farms and get jobs in cities. So, they had a more steady lifestyle, because farm lifestyle is rough. If your crops don't grow, man, you got a lot of financial problems. One of the things that made the North an effective place for agriculture also, the South was not the only place that grew things. The North grew a lot of food, especially in the Midwest, and this is one of the innovations was McCormick's Reaper, and it helped cut down wheat in the North, which made wheat farmers able to grow more things, and the more that they could grow, the bigger the surplus they had, and the more crops that could be sent down along the Erie Canal or by railroad back to New York City, Philadelphia, and the eastern seaboard where the factories were and the immigrants were, and could feed these large cities. So the North had some pretty good inventions, including the steamboat and the reaper. Obviously, the North had a lot of railroads. We talked about that in class. Industrialists bought railroads so that materials could get to their factory and that their factory workers could move around the country easier. Most people in the South did not travel by railroads. Most people in the South didn't really travel very much at all. Slaves were not allowed to travel off the plantation. And other people who were traveling, if you were moving products, you were probably moving products by steamboat down the river. The South was not a very complicated place. The people who had the money had the power. Most of the people who were powerful were these rich plantation owners in the South, the wealthy planters. And then there was this middle class of white folks that probably didn't own slaves, that worked either as small farmers or as craftspeople. And then you had the African American slave population. One of the hugest things about this chapter is the differential in population. The North had way more people because it attracted immigrants. Why would immigrants come to the North instead of coming to the South? They would do that because there were more factories and mill jobs in the North. If you went to the South, good luck getting a job because the slaves did most of the jobs. So the things that I would do to study is I would watch this video. I would compare the notes that you took in class on pages 134 through 137 to what I said in the video. I would study the maps that are on textbook pages 262 to 263, and I would study those questions that I gave you about those maps. So I hope you do some studying this weekend. Good luck to you, and without any further talk, have a nice day, and God bless America.